Welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. Happy Sunday. How you guys doing out there? We are here to review for you the 2022 Hellraiser movie. My name is Keelan, and it's Sunday, so you guys already know who I'm here with. As always, it's myself, Nick. Mike, what's going on, fellas? How you doing, Nick?
Hey, happy Sunday, man. Well, how are you?
Uh, very well, very well. I'm not exactly sure why. Um, I'm alive. What am I talking about? I know exactly why.
It's
Can't say the same for some of the people by the end of this movie, but hey,
it's All Hallows Eve. So there you go.
yeah,
That's it.
maybe that's what it is. The portal coming and opening and all that good stuff. Just an abundance of energy.
I
Mm.
reject portals. I
Nicely done,
reject
sir.
all portals of all kinds. I don't,
Nicely done. Hey, that's how you protect yourself. I get it. But what's going
And
on,
don't
Mike? How
play
you
with
feeling
puzzle
today?
no,
boxes.
Please don't get me started on those. I wouldn't play with the Chinese finger trap, but that's another conversation.
right.
But
Not
how you
playing with
doing, Mike?
nobody's portals or puzzle boxes. None of that. Yeah,
None of that.
that's the takeaway ultimately.
Hey, that's really all they need to tell me is that thing right there. You know what? Actually, I'm the do not touch. I come from that generation still. You
I,
didn't even have to move nothing when I came in your house. You just told me don't touch it, and I knew what the game was. Like, oh,
man,
that's not for me. All right, got it.
I'm
Got
gonna keep it a buck, man. You didn't even have to tell me that at a certain age. It was just like hands off policy.
it. That ain't mine.
It's not
Right.
yours. Don't touch it. Yeah.
You're right. So that's
Yeah.
why when I watch certain stuff, I'm like, I wouldn't have never did that. I couldn't have got in that situation.
It's so funny that you say it that way that I couldn't got in that situation. A lot of times, at first, I didn't understand why I would think this, and it's just the irony of how I guess cynical my mind is. I see things like people just picking up stuff in movies, especially movies where I know there's going to be a lot of murder, and I start hearing
hmm
that Usher song in my head. Situation
hmm
will arise. Why? I
Not for
don't
me.
know, but it's just like, oh, the trajectory or whatever you thought your life was going to be just changed when you touching that, buddy. Um, but anyway, again, my mind's kind of warped. So we are here
Might as well
to
get right
review.
in it.
Hey, you know what? That's how it works. This is why we're all here together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, you guys are not absolved from having warped minds. I am simply sharing that I'm aware, so they don't have to question it in the comment section. Um, but we're here to review the 2022 rendition of the Clive Barker film, correct? Hellraiser
Mhm.
is an
Correct.
original. Okay, I wasn't sure if he had gotten it from like say remade someone else's version or made someone else's book, but he wrote the book as well. Wasn't there a book?
I think it was Stephen King.
Stephen King wrote the book. Okay, that's what I was trying to
I
figure out.
think
I'm like,
so.
no, somebody else. There was a book or something. Got it. So Stephen King wrote the book, and Clive Barker did the original movie. Maybe that's in the synopsis or the breakdown for the original movie, but it's not in it for the 2022 version because it's simply you know this era's version of the 1987 classic. But this movie is starring. If I'll start with that, actually, this movie is starring a bunch of fresh faces for me. Did anybody notice anybody before I even go through their names? Anybody you guys have seen in anything else?
No.
Not
Not even
me.
one person. Not what? Not the guy Vault. He kind of looked a little familiar, but I couldn't place anything I've seen him in. But either
Right.
way,
Because he
this
got
movie.
that kind of 90s villainous guy look.
That's really all I think it was. I think it was they found a guy who he has the evil Al Pacino look.
Yeah.
That's about it right there. But older. Anyway, it's starring Jamie Clayton, Odessa. Now, as Azian? Would that be Azian? Azion? Anyway, Odessa Aziam. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Drew Starkey, Brandon Flynn, Goran Visnijic, Selena Lowe, Ayufe Hines, Kit Clark, Adam Faison, Chaim Abbas, Jason Lyles, Nicola Kent, and Predrag Bialak. Um, I want to say two or three of them are the I guess what we call those visions or the monsters that come later in the movie.
Cenobites.
The Cenobites. Thank you. I couldn't remember.
Oh,
Yeah. So a few of them are the Cenobites. So if you were thinking in your mind, like, or for people who have also seen this and are watching this with us, if you're thinking in your mind, like, I didn't see that many people, some of them are the Cenobites. So that's
yeah.
literally everybody in the entire movie. And I just want to say really quickly, compared to our last movie, that cast lineup actually makes sense with the number of people I just named. That's all.
Mhm.
That's all. But yes, 2022 version of Hellraiser. So fellas, did you guys see the original Hellraiser at all?
Absolutely.
hmm What about you, Nick? Did you see it?
No, I did
No.
not.
Okay.
No.
I don't think I did either. Or if I have seen it, it's been so long that I have no recollection of it. The only recollection I have of it is Pinhead,
Fair
and I
enough.
think that's just because she's a popular, like a pop culture character.
Yes, he is.
Oh, he was. It was a he originally.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it was definitely a she in this one.
Yeah.
Okay, making sure I didn't misread that. Um, so yeah, from that, I don't know if we really need to give a spoiler. This came out at the beginning of the month, on October 7th, I believe, or something of that nature. Is released on Hulu. Could have been a little earlier. But
Yeah,
hey,
it's recent.
yeah, ultra recent, but no more than, I'd say, exactly a month, almost entirely to the day. I'd say it might have came out a few days before October. Um, So, hey, I'll give you guys a soft spoiler warning or spoiler alert, but it's been about 30 days. So I'm sure that if you're watching this, you've probably seen this movie already and you're just looking to see what we think about it to compare with your current notes. With that being said, join us on our first impressions. Um, fellas, what are your first impressions? Nick, what do you have for us?
Mike, go ahead real quick. My dog is being an ass, and I gotta go check it out. I'll be right back.
Got
All right. My first impressions was I liked it.
it.
It was way better than what I expected because there's a lot of movies that come out, that are iconic. Like Hellraiser's an iconic horror movie.
Hmm.
Like it's when they started really opening up about what they were willing to show on TV as far as uh like mainstream movies. Because you didn't quite see this much kind of gory kind of Cenobite demon stuff on regular movies in theaters.
Right.
So when this came out, this was like a big deal, and for them to do a decent rendition of it, I was kind of surprised because there's like 15 of these movies, and most of them are crap.
I think
Most
there's
of them are
five to
pretty.
be exact, but yeah, I totally understand.
Yeah, most of them are pretty bad.
Okay.
They
Fair
just bring
enough.
the extra gore. This actually
Right.
had some decent story in it, though.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just my take.
That's
My general
no,
take.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Shoot, I can go after that. Honestly, I actually agree. Much better than I expected. So my brain automatically looked at the original 1987. Had a couple of them come out in the 2000s. I think the last one came out around like 2012 or something like that. Um, yeah, whatever. That's kind of how you look at that, right? When they just stretch them out like that and they give them to you so
Yeah,
sporadically. So you come back to this, and it's more of a retelling. That's how they kind of pitched it, like it was more of a retelling. I'm sure it's not the exact story of the original because this seemed very modern, but
it's not.
um, right, right. But I can also understand that it's probably similar to the original in the sense of it gives that freshness to it.
Yeah,
If I didn't know Hellraiser already existed, this would have been like a great introduction for somebody to just be like, oh wow, that's a pretty cool concept. How much further do we go with this? And I could also see how they could drag this out. And if you have a very good first one, you turn around and have five sequels, whether they're good or bad, people are gonna go see what they're about. So yeah,
right.
that can from there. I love the amount of gore. The acting was pretty decent. Story. it was pretty easy to follow. I think
Hmm.
the story could have been a little more complex, honestly, for what we were dealing with. Uh, but yeah, the things that I dislike, I can say up front, the things that I'm probably gonna say I dislike are pretty much gonna be personal based. Not so much about like cinematography and all that stuff wasn't bad. Lighting wasn't bad. Didn't have any really dark, shady moments. You know, some people could probably watch this and take some notes, but yeah,
No stockings
uh,
over the camera.
yeah, no stockings over the cameras, no quick cut scenes, nobody walking through the bottom aisle of the theater, so you always see is the top of their head. Um, yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it. I enjoyed it, honestly. I did.
Shout out to the bootleg.
Hey, hey. That's why I don't allow backpacks in the theaters now, for the record.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, that's my first take. That's my first take. What do you think,
What you
Nick?
think, Nick?
Yeah, so I guess I'll have to go watch the first one. Um, Now, probably not to do any sort of comparison, but the things that I did like felt like things that were probably already addressed in the first
First one.
Hellraiser. So it probably would be good for me to go check out the original, and maybe fill in some of those gaps. As far as this movie goes, I thought it was okay. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't necessarily great either. I think there was some interesting lore stuff, again, with the concepts
Hmm.
of the Cenobites, and
Hmm.
their sort of characterization is super interesting. But I felt like the everything that was in service of that wasn't as good as it could have been. Meaning that I felt like the characters weren't that great. They felt like they were there to just die. Um, I didn't feel very connected to. I don't even know her name. What's her name, guys?
Riley?
Riley. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
I
wouldn't
had to
even
look
I
her up.
wouldn't have even known her name. I
Oh,
feel
I
like,
want to add to that. I looked
yeah.
her name up online, and then maybe 5 minutes later, I heard somebody say it, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I could have waited, or they could have gave it to me when they first introduced her."
Yeah, I mean, like if you had given me a list of three names and that was in it, I probably wouldn't have picked that. So that can tell you a little bit about what the main character is in this movie, at least in my opinion. And I think it kind of suffers a little bit from that. For as much as I found Pinhead compelling, and the Cenobites compelling, and even maybe even the billionaire sort of compelling, I felt like everybody else was just in service to get to that final part. Um, and then there was kind of a cop out at the end. So yeah, this movie's okay. You're not gonna like it's not gonna be something that you hate. I think it might have dragged on a little bit, but it's nothing that I would write home about, and it's probably not one of the things I would recommend for Halloween. I think there's probably a lot more things you can watch.
That's actually a good point. I'm not quite sure it's a Halloween movie. An October thrill kind of fright fest kind of a movie, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But a Halloween movie, yeah, I'll be right there with you. I'm not sure if it's a Halloween movie.
I mean, in as far as that, like there are so many great horror movies that you could watch. I don't know if I would say this is the one you got to see.
Would this be considered horror or gore?
Well, it's certainly gory.
Or gory, yeah.
We'll have to
They
ask Mike.
all are.
Okay. So that's just an element of horror.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Like some movies are specifically for the gore fest, so you have a specific genre of gore that you can kind of look into. Like the movie Feast is more just a splattery kind of just mess.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
You can hear the
It's
blood splatters pretty
wet
much all
wet
over.
chunks everywhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That kind of yeah.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of it, just to give you something wet and sticky to look
It's
at.
an entire ASMR movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you
I've
go.
actually seen Feast. Like that's literally what it is.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love that movie though. It's a good movie.
but see,
If,
that's what
if
kind of
you
why
got to
I asked
be into
that.
it though.
But right, which I don't mind. I like those movies, and that's why I asked that though to compare. Let's say like you bring that up, comparing the two. I
Hmm.
would consider Feast a gore, like just it's all about the blood and all of
Yeah,
that, right? I wouldn't
yeah,
consider
absolutely.
like we only really got about what 3 blood splatters, like actual blood splatters.
Well, with the Hellraiser movies, you typically get like
You got shot
eviscerations and
imaging.
decapitations. You get the human people, whereas Feast is more like it's monsters and it's ripping monsters up. There's no rhyme or reason kind of thing.
Yeah, that's not
So
fair.
we're talking like a beast or a monster. Where these with the Cenobites, we're talking demons who take pleasure in it. There's a goal to some degree to cause pain, whereas the monsters are just eating. They're hungry.
They hungry.
Yeah, they're just
Interesting.
hungry. That's what they do.
I kind of
Cenobite.
wished I kind of wish this had been like an adventure movie where it was like a team of people were searching for the cube, and then subsequently released the Cenobites. I don't know if that's in one of the Hellraisers, but
Um,
I would assume because you and I are in the same boat, Nick. I would assume that because there are, I want to say I saw about 5 or 6 other Hellraiser movies out there, that a lot of those simpler stories have already been taken.
yeah,
So
that's
I
fair.
just I assumed automatically they had to kind of ride with, and that's why I said this one had more of a modern-ish without me even knowing what the other ones are. It just felt like a 2022 movie, but it didn't feel like a 2022. We have to remake this movie. It actually made sense. Or
well, this one, I mean,
wait.
a lot of them don't really go
I
in depth
can't
into a
pigeonhole myself
story.
like that. I can't pigeonhole myself like that. Um, it makes sense in a way. Yeah.
Well, a lot of them don't really have a story. It's more like an excuse to see the Cenobites show up and hurt people.
And kill people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the main reason for most of these movies, and that's why this one kind of stands out a little bit more because it does have a little bit more like depth to it.
Mhm.
Like they talk like when they talk about it when she goes to the mansion and she finds the book that kind of describes the different transformations of the cube. You get that referenced a lot in the previous movies, but not to the detail that this one kind of goes into.
Mm.
And you get a little bit more of an understanding. Like Hellraiser, I think it was either 2 or 3. They kind of explore the fact that somebody gets to go to the other dimension and have an audience with God or Leviathan. That's referenced,
Hmm.
and so that kind of is this being made into like more informative. And whereas the other one's kind of just doing stuff, it was no real contextual understanding of what was happening, other than the main villain saying, I want to kill all these people because I want to know.
Hmm.
So now it's like, okay, he's trying to unlock like the devil's knowledge.
So,
Mhm.
like the book, for instance, right?
hmm
That doesn't hold reference to the previous ones. The book about
Um,
the puzzles.
yes and no, because like in the previous movies, they do a lot of stuff. They don't really talk about a lot of stuff.
But
So
right,
you
it's not
can,
documented per
it,
se. Like there's no
right. It's
investigative.
inferred.
So is this the most lore heavy movie for
That I
Hellraiser?
can remember, yeah.
Oh, that's a shame.
That's interesting.
All right, then we definitely need to make another one. We can
That,
write
I'm not gonna
this.
lie. Yeah, that just actually hurt the rate my score immediately.
Right. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I was
because
assuming there
yeah,
was going to be a lot more lore in the ones I haven't seen, so that's
yeah.
why, But if you're
Um,
saying that there was more lore
there's
in
a
this
lot
At
of
one,
them
least in the
though,
first one.
hmm.
Yeah,
but there's a
so I
lot
was
of them.
counting. There's actually more than 8, and
Yeah,
movies like Hellbound are also a
yeah,
part of the Hellraiser.
yeah.
And there's like a couple of other names that are part of the Hellraiser
It's a lot of content
tribe.
out there, but
I think
I
Evil
never.
Dead is in the Hellraiser catalog.
Mm,
I mean, not catalog.
Is it just people getting fucked up over a stabby puzzle over and over again? Like, or do
well,
they
the
change
puzzle.
up the
See, in
stories?
the whole puzzle stabbing it thing, that's not even like in the very beginning because you
Mm.
just had to activate the original puzzle box. You just had to activate it, and the change was coming out.
Mm.
And that was back when Pinhead was a dude.
Right. Right.
And he was a German dude. Like he evolves over time. They start to explore who he is over time, but it's like over several bad movies.
with you saying that, I did like how we begin the movie in Russia or in Serbia, excuse me. Um, we begin the movie in Belgrade, and they have the whole exchange of the case. And at first, I was like, that didn't make no sense. But it was like, no, that's to let you know, like, no, this comes from older times, like times before and beyond us. Now, some people wouldn't pick that up, of course, but I think that was kind of to throw that out there, right? Because they ended up in Massachusetts.
Um, I believe the original. I think the original creator of the puzzle box is Parisian.
Hmm. Oh wait, they found
So
so there's if they found out about if they know about the creator of the puzzle box, there's definitely more lore out there then.
like I said, there's a lot of movies, and
Mm.
I wish I could tell you I remember all the details. This is one of those series I kind of gave up on, like after five.
Yeah.
I kind of
Understand.
was like, okay, I'm not looking for these anymore. But
Too
I could,
many.
you know what? I have to be honest. There's a lot of stuff that I would have we could actually go back over as far as the movies, and we could go through it. There's a lot. Um, I can't remember all of it because remember this series came out in the '70s.
Oh, story. But wow. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe the first one was '84. It was early.
87.
I thought it was
It was-
87.
Yeah.
the first one was '87. Yeah, whatever.
Mm. Yeah.
There you go. See, look.
Somewhere around there. It's all good.
Stop dating yourself.
Yeah.
Guess I got to do my own research, huh?
It would. I don't know. I just didn't like any of the characters. I guess if they're just servants to be slaughtered, that's fine. But I kind
I
of.
mean, pretty
This movie would
much.
have been a lot shorter if they were just servants to be slaughtered, because they would have been voluntary and that would have been an episode or something.
That's true. Oh, so my question was, I was going to ask you this question, Mike, because I haven't seen them.
Mhm.
So whoever starts the first configuration gets to choose who gets sacrificed to it, because it didn't
So,
really make a whole lot of sense that the girl didn't get just got immediately. Like
See,
they said the box was made for her. Why?
the Cenobites. Well, see, the Cenobites tend to choose who they take. It
Okay.
was never like a choice that the
Mm,
person was given that I can recall ever seeing in any previous movies. It was just you activated the box. Come here.
right.
I know with the first movie though, Christy, uh, she tried to sacrifice. She was sacrificing other people trying to save her father. Was the premise. But
Mm.
it's been so long since I've watched any of those movies, I can't really
well, that
recall the
means that this
details.
one might be a light reimagination of that because she's doing all this to save her brother.
It doesn't. Nah, not really. It feels like a completely just added on story, but they actually did a better job of giving you some storylines.
Okay. Okay. All right. So yeah, we start in Serbia, and the cases are swapped by a woman and a guy, um, who's supposed to be yeah, a guy who I don't know. We don't know who he is. Either way, she works for Mr. Vault, a man who never does anything that he can get somebody else to do.
Right.
Um, that in itself had me like, "Oh, okay, this is gonna take some turns." But then when we meet, what was his name, Joey, at the beginning, I was confused. It says 6 years later we jump forward. No,
He was
sorry,
a sacrificial lamb.
he was, but I was confused as to like paying attention to the party environment. He didn't seem to fit in general. It was almost like, how did he get to the party, other than being targeted for sacrifice?
Well, he was a pretty face.
The movie needed somebody to kill.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
There
no,
you
I
go.
know now
Yeah.
that part. Yeah, they needed plenty of people to kill,
Yeah.
but
I think
I
they
like
needed
how
more people, more
I think they
sacrifices.
needed more people for sure. But we'll get to that in a minute. Um, we meet Serena, and I don't like her character. It's weird. It's just I don't want to see you in flashes, and I don't get much about you, and then what happens happens. But he meets Serena, and she lures him, basically making him think she was
Cougar
about
style.
to give. Yeah, yeah, you get it. And simultaneously, I'm like, I don't know, bud. She was just talking about how the guy who owns this place that you're in would really love to meet you.
I was thinking those were some major rapey vibes.
And then she told you go down the hall and go into the room on the right, and you did it, and then the door locked behind you, buddy.
And then you were in like a showcase room with a whole bunch of fucking probably priceless things, and you decided to touch one of those things.
Never.
Right.
Why would you do that?
See
Because
that,
mama
and
didn't
that's
teach
where
you no home training.
Yeah.
see, and that's where the movie Hellraiser 2022 Michael was participating in would have ended right there. Because the movie just would have went
Wouldn't have fished
nowhere. I'd
that.
have just been standing around like, so what we doing?
Right.
who
Yeah.
I'm about to
And
who I'm about to fight for my life against? Because I'm definitely not picking none of this shit up.
holding
Mm-mm.
my hands, folded position. Oh,
Looking
hi, you must be
around,
Mr. Rod. Oh, yeah, this is a beautiful house. I love it. Would you like to play one of my puzzles? No.
no,
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. No, sir.
mm-mm. That's nope.
That's a no. But yeah, he enters a room full of artifacts, and we all know how that goes. But we find out that he has all of these switches and stuff to lock down the room and change the
Mhm.
configuration on the ceiling. But we see later that it locks down the entire house. So what was going on with the people in the rest of the house when they were partying when he was locking him up and committing murder? Or
I think they have like he has like interior and exterior switches, so he can. I think he can lock things up basically quadrantly or whatever.
Yeah.
I did
doing a
like
lot of
that a
things.
little bit. I did like that a little bit because we just did an episode on fairies in on Exofathom, and they talk about how iron is the only thing that can imprison a fairy,
Yeah.
and they're sort of like
The-
in between. They're sort of like fallen angel creatures, just kind of like the Cenobites. So I like that they use the concept of iron being able to keep them in and out.
and out, yeah, because they were not feeling that. But it didn't
Mhm.
kill them; it just warded them off.
Mhm.
We saw that from the one that got caught in between. But so, yeah, he gets the puzzle, he does it, and we see the puzzle start transforming after it stabbed Joey, and he's getting swept away by just murderous chains. Rah, 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 rah.
That was kind of tight how they did that. He's in the background getting murdered while dude starts playing with it again.
Mhm. I thought that was cool.
Just the way they shot the scene. I mean,
I was confused at the lack of, you know, again, for me, the cinematography was pretty good, especially in all of those type scenes. Anything having to do with the box was shot beautifully. Um, can't say that for the whole movie, but most of the things having to shot with the box. Um, but from there, what did he do? Joey is dead.
he's chained up.
Oh, right. So once he gets chained up, you have that's when I find out because again, never seen this before. The moment he says he's a pennant of the Leviathan, I was like, oh, this is about to get crazy.
Yeah.
Like you pray into the Leviathan, bro. That's all bad. There's nothing good coming up. That's basically what's his name? Armoranth. No, I don't remember, but I know he has multiple eyes and multiple mouths, and he's like the abyss monster, and
Cthulhu.
yeah, basically, but even more deadly. I just can't remember the name. It's a different lore. It's like um the same lore under like Ra and Amen, Sekhmet, and all of that. Anyway,
Nick.
I don't know.
right? That's why I'm
So,
running it by because I'm like, I know you guys have heard this stuff
It's got
too.
Nick's got to know.
I think,
Apocalypse.
yeah, maybe. I know that Leviathan is a giant sea monster that God kills.
Right.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of movies kind of give him the. I thought they were gonna give him like the Apophis face because the way they were kind of portraying him through the Hellraiser stuff.
Oh, you
I
think of like
expected him to be more
Hermaeus
bad.
Mora.
That's
Hermaeus Mora
yeah.
is
That you're thinking
Skyrim.
from Skyrim. Yeah.
Where he's just basically a floating ball of eyes
Mhm,
and
Yeah.
tentacles. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
That's why I thought you meant Cthulhu.
Right.
Well, Cthulhu usually has a body.
Yeah.
Apophis, on the other hand, is really just abyss. But that's another conversation. So That's what I was expecting. That's what I thought he was praying to. But before we get a view of that or understanding what's going on, it clicks out and we jump to 6 years later and we see Riley getting her back blown out by her dude. And that's literally when I was like, oh, this is a 2022 movie.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, because there's no
Right.
reason for us to go to him. All right, now this way. And they turn over and then it's the whole I love you scene. And why is it awkward to tell somebody you're sleeping with I love you again?
Because man, that would
Emotions.
mean exactly that would mean that she would have to have a healthy relationship, and she can't do that.
I don't know why, but again, I have to share that. This is one of those moments where my brain goes, situation.
Right.
Healthy relationships are lame, bro. Come on.
Oh,
Right.
man.
Don't
Yeah.
you know who wants to be
Poo poo.
happy?
Right.
Poo
Right.
poo poo on that.
Yeah.
On the thought that they're lame, not on the
No.
relationships.
Yeah.
Right.
But the
Is that a
weird
thing
part to
though?
me,
Like 2022? Is that a thing like for movies?
relationships, no, those aren't things anymore in 2022.
No,
I
no,
don't
no,
think so.
no. I mean the
Healthier.
way you said it.
Yeah.
2022 is a movie thing, like a trope.
Yeah. Because we're on
Damn.
the back end of the pandemic, and I don't care what anybody says on a social scale. Pretty much every movie is trying to hit the exact same points in a different way, and if they don't hit those points, they feel like they're not going to sell. It just is what it
Yeah.
is.
It's just modernity. It's like when movies don't act timelessly anymore. Everything
Mhm.
has to have a modern commentary about the current thing that's happening in America,
Oh,
and so
yeah.
when they do that, it actually dates the movie. Like you can't watch a movie that does that too much in like 20 years because you're going to be like, what why are they all mad about these these protesters that are outside with red hats on? What was that about? You know what I mean? It's like you're not going to get the reference because kids won't ever watch it. So it's kind of funny because they're really ensuring that nobody ever goes back to watch their shit if you put too much of what's currently going on in your art.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
absolutely true. Uh,
That is not good for the state of movies.
No sir.
it's not nothing right now is good for the state of any form of art. I don't know what you've been watching, my friend, but
Um, Anime mostly.
Anime's killing it.
yeah.
Anime and manga is killing it, so that's good.
Um, oh yeah, the part that was weird to me is what I was about to say is I thought it was weird that her brother and his boyfriend and their roommate they're all just standing around in the kitchen listening to them have sex, huh?
And I'm
How
assuming
about
that's not her room since she's like squatting there.
right? And this is me. Knock knock knock. Hey, we're home now. Quiet it the fuck down a little bit.
Yeah, your brother's in the room. Just because, like, why would you think that he wants to hear that? I could understand
But
if it's your
she
roommate.
didn't know they were there. I'm guessing they came home while they were in
Okay.
halfway
Right,
getting
right,
it
right,
done.
right.
But that's
Makes
why I'm like,
sense.
okay, you
Mid
walk in
coitus.
mid
Right.
coitus. You walk in, you hear how loud they are, make yourself known.
True.
Hey man, it's good to be home.
Yeah.
Yeah, ain't all that. Go flush your toilet or something. Run some water.
Stomp
I don't
around
know.
the house.
Right.
Yeah.
Drop a backpack. I don't know. Move the chair, pull the chair where one of those.
Yeah.
Man,
I don't know.
somebody didn't do no dishes. Something.
But instead, the brother decided to be totally douchey about it and stare down the guy that they ended up having to
Passive
meet after he
aggressive.
just told right after he just told his sister that he
But
left
was he
her.
right though?
Yes,
He was
but
right though. So it
hey,
doesn't
I mean, of
matter
course,
that he was.
that's not the
he's
point.
right, but he's passive aggressive about it. So I mean, it makes him kind of
He's
a
he's family. He's
No,
always
he
right.
could tell the future, man. He could see what was going to happen in this movie, and that's why he treated him poorly.
You know what? Nothing else to say. To that.
I mean,
The future. Um. So yeah, once he tells her, because Trevor leaves. It's not like he hangs out. He has to go make deliveries because it's a work day, aka get out. And they didn't get to finish because he said I love you, so she got all pissy about it. Um.
hmm
So she gets scolded by her brother now, And of course, the boyfriend and the roommate are listening in because why not? If you're gonna sit here and be a parent, I'm gonna listen because that's what roommates and siblings do, isn't it? You hear your sibling getting chewed out by your parent, you.
Uh, not when it get you smacked too.
Oh yeah, no. You do it behind the wall or a closed door or something where nobody realize you're actually doing that. No, no,
What you
no.
laughing for, huh,
Don't get yourself
ma'am?
hurt out here. Look,
Ma'am?
y'all don't be listening to this show thinking that I ain't got no good sense. No, that was not allowed around these parts.
No.
Um, but either way, Riley needs money. Her brother wants to kick her out. Ain't nothing she could do about it. So what happens? Her boyfriend turns around and goes, I can get you in on this little deal where, I seen this shipment come in, but this
Right.
last shipment, oh, it's just beautiful. It's perfect. This last thing that's coming in, but nobody else is coming to pick it up. And, it's abandoned though. People don't drop off shit to abandoned places, dummies.
I mean, he seemed like he was a setup character from the jump.
Also,
Yeah.
was the box stolen from the billionaire?
No.
No.
So
Well.
Do they
Yes.
say that?
Yes, but we find that out later when they meet Serena.
Oh, okay.
So Serena technically had stolen it from him. Like she had somebody get it. She purchased it from that person, right? And then she hid it, like she locked it away.
Oh,
Because
I thought that was under orders.
No, I don't think she believed he was dead.
Oh,
But
okay.
he was in possession. The billionaire was in possession of the box when he made his wish.
Yes.
Then he got transformed, and she took the box away.
Yes, that's what it seems like. Like he
Oh,
went in to hide, and then she somehow got access to it, or
Hmm.
some. Oh, excuse me, no, because remember we saw her exchange the money. We saw her purchase it from somebody, so somebody else got access to it, and probably didn't even know what they had.
I just thought there was like there was like millions of boxes out there or something. But I don't think that's what it was. I thought it was
Yeah, no, it was just the one. I thought there were at least two, and then we realized like no, it's just the one,
Okay.
or at least
Yeah, there's supposed to only be one box.
there can only be one box.
Well,
One
then
box
they
got
did
created in space in one of the movies, just so y'all know.
That's cool. Well, they did a poor job then about explaining where the hell the box came from.
Oh,
or how
Ultra
it popped up again.
Yeah, again,
Because-
one of those things I thought were
because-
supposed to correlate with the old movies.
The billionaire hired
Yeah,
the
they just kind of
boyfriends.
pop up in flea markets by some
Uh-huh.
evil entities willing, like a old Chinese dude,
Right.
Cursed trinkets.
Like
with moths in
gremlins.
his beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
Right.
Shrunken heads and junk.
The monkey
Yeah.
paw. Yeah.
That's funny. Good old.
That's exactly
good old
what it
TV
is.
tropes.
Uh,
But yeah, so he gets her involved in stealing this object, which I don't know. To me, it was just too easy and too simple and too stupid at the same time.
So did he
Right.
not love her?
No. But
No.
no, it seemed like he actually, you know what, Nick? I got that too. No. I'm with you. It seemed like he didn't really want to get her involved, but she needed the money, so he got her involved. And later he did seem like, damn, I really didn't want her involved in this. And now I got to follow through because it's the only way I make money.
But he damn well knew that getting her involved would mean her dying.
Yeah, that he did.
But he said he loved her.
That's the weird part.
And
Right.
so am I to assume that because she didn't say she loved him back, he decided to kill her?
Yes, I'm assuming
Yeah.
so.
That
Okay,
that makes
cool.
more sense.
And
Okay,
she still went back and gave him some.
So he's
more
an
of
incel
that
then.
thing. Ooh, good point.
So he's just
man.
another male incel that is spurned by a woman and then turns evil.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
It's just always the way it fucking goes, man.
ooh.
Yeah.
All right, well-
it happens every time.
Now that we know, time
I
to get
didn't
to
even work
ratings.
that.
Dang it. I don't even have nothing else to say now.
I hadn't even worked that out, and you just kind of blew that all up in my face.
Sorry,
And
it
then
just
something in the back
bothers
of my
me when
brain
they
just
do
yelled
that
out,
shit.
Beta. Dang it.
That's amazing.
That's funny. It's just the way that all just correlated. It was like a slip. They say it's a slippery slope, and that's how avalanches get started.
Yeah.
It just reeks of like I don't know, some sort of fetishization of this man who gets spurned by the woman's like, no, I don't want you. And then he's like, fine, if I can't have you, no one can.
Well, but she
It
went back
feels
clingy
kind
to
of
him.
fetishistic to me.
Yeah, but now
Well, I
she did
mean, if
go
you
back
think
clingy to
about the
him
broader
on
scope of the
occasion.
Cenobites,
Mm,
they're a bunch of dudes, chicks and dudes in leather
that's
with the
true.
extreme nipple pinchers.
Wait.
Mhm.
They are not in leather. They have been turned into leather.
Yes, they
Well,
have.
yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Like the original Cenobites, the original Pinhead was in a leather suit.
Oh, they're definitely masochists. That's for
Mhm.
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah. They'd be into that bondage stuff.
I don't know how to spell that. But
You
yeah. Once
spell
they
it
start stealing shit,
WOKE.
and uh, once they start stealing things, and we already know that it's Mr. Vaults, but Riley goes home, and immediately her brother's like, "Oh, you're drunk, you're high," and I'm like, yeah, no, that's that artifact bringing you bad luck already." I
Mhm.
promise that's what I thought immediately. I was like, "Oh, the artifact brings bad luck too," because that's just poor timing. It's just poor timing. He was minding his business.
Hey, why does she look like Mike Wheeler from Stranger Things?
That's funny. I feel like there's a lot of actors and actresses out now that look like Mike Wheeler from Stranger Things.
They
Like,
really do. What's up with the hair, man? I don't
Well, I
like it.
mean,
I don't
she
like
could
it.
have also been in the Warriors if you want to
She
look at it
could
like
have
that.
been in the Warriors. She did look like the Warriors. Yeah.
Asking the Cenobites to come out to play.
um. So yeah, once she goes and her brother get into it, he kicks her out. I appreciated having Colin, the boyfriend, to be at the base, like outside when she's leaving. Like, hey, what are you doing? Go back inside. Like, it's a bad night.
Mhm.
Like, remember, this happens all the time. This is normal. Get back in there. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, you're a drug addict. You do
Right,
this all the
exactly.
time. So,
Exactly. So we're gonna come after you, just knock it off. I did not appreciate how he turned that into "I told you to stay" after it goes all bad. And before we get to that, are you guys buying how she broke into everything?
I don't
Like
buy
everything.
anything from that
No,
character, to be
Okay.
no.
honest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We just
The
kind of
beginning,
accepted it.
yeah, the beginning was rough. The beginning with Riley was rough for me. Yeah, she grew on me as a
Mhm.
character, but the beginning
That's because the story picked up, though, I
rough.
think.
Yeah.
The story
'Cause
picks up, and then Riley becomes less of like a focus because then the Cenobites are there. And
Right.
it's like,
True.
that's
And then it's
more
everything that
interesting.
leads back to that and the
'Cause
box
I
involved.
don't know too many drug addicts who turned it such a good detective so quickly.
Batman.
I mean, she found Mr. Voight, broke into his house, who's just basically took over the whole shebang bang.
While he
Batman.
was still living there, apparently.
Right. Apparently.
That part's scary.
Well, you
Which
never
means he
heard of
locked
squatters?
himself in there. He's squatting in his own house.
Pretty
Well, no,
much.
not him.
Oh.
Just squatters in general.
Oh no, I think he was sacrificing anybody who came up in that joint because he didn't have a box. He was just committing murder.
I always check my cupboards for a person trying to hide in there.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, ever since I
Right.
saw that video from like Japan where this dude found a woman squatting in his cupboards like for months, living in his cupboards, dude.
How is that even possible?
She would only come out at night while he was asleep.
But what I mean is,
Yeah, bro.
what?
Yeah, bro. It's a real
What?
thing. It's a real thing, and it's terrifying.
I reject that, Satan.
I
I reject that all.
think that might have just broke my brain.
Right.
There was like he only found out because he put this surveillance cam in his kitchen, and at night you could see that one of the cabinet doors slowly open, and this grown ass woman crawls out of the cabinet, gets some food, and then goes right back into the cabinets.
Or was she
Did
just
did she attack him at all at any point?
No,
she just
no.
laid
She
in
was
there
just
the whole
living
day?
in his home. Yeah. Hmm.
I'm thinking it's a cupboard. It ain't big.
But it was one of those that was like had, it was like a counter and then each had cabinets below. So I think the cabinets were all connected. It was just like, you
Oh, it's a big
doors.
old opening back there.
Right, right.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
That's
So always check your house. You never know.
that's wild. I'm sorry. That's wild.
That's insane.
That I've seen a few movies like that though. There's a few movies based on people doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's the wildest thing ever. Just living in my walls, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
That I mean,
Chilling in the
listen,
walls.
that's about as frightening as what was going on in this thing because they was
Right.
living in the brain. But shoot, we need to research that whole situation right there. Man, look, you choking on the information. You can't even digest it. That's a lot.
Yep.
That's so much I can't even breathe.
That's
Man.
that's spookier than everything I just saw in this movie.
Right. Yeah, no, I know it is actually. It's terrifying. It's
Hey,
a
you know what?
terrifying idea.
The scariest movies I've ever watched are the ones that are based in reality.
It's like Blair Witch.
No, like Hostel. Right.
Or like Centipede.
No, we won't discuss that.
Well, if we don't want to discuss that, I guess I'll get back to Hellraiser.
Mm.
You really want to discuss the human centipede?
No, sir.
That's
No, sir.
That's probably one of the top 10 worst things I've ever seen.
Just pray you're
Top
number
5.
one, man. Pray
Top
you're
5.
number one.
There are movies that I know of that are worse.
I mean, wasn't there like a succession to the Human Centipede where it became a donut?
Yes, there's 3 of them.
Yeah, where it was just like a circle.
Became the human
But-
butterfly.
I didn't know
like
that
the
part.
human donut where they just like tape everybody's together.
Yeah, I didn't know because after the first one, I refused to watch anymore.
I
I think that's
refuse.
fair.
I refused. I was like, nope. There's no reason.
The whole
There's no reason
premise-
for a sequel.
Right. The whole premise is sewing somebody to somebody's butthole. Like that's the premise of the movie.
Ass to mouth in a real way.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sorry
Well,
about that.
Talking about some real nasty things going into the mouth. After Riley gets into it with her brother, she goes out and she's grabbing her jacket and stuff because she gonna sleep in her car because she a big girl.
Right.
And she finds some pills. And I knew, and I'm sure everybody else knew, she immediately was gonna take them, but she dumped them onto the ground, and I was like, oh, she needed some salt. Help them go down easier.
Well,
'Cause I
what
know-
I was thinking was first thing I said was, "Ain't no such thing as a drug addict in recovery hiding drugs for them to find later."
I don't
That's
know if
true.
there was so much hiding. I think they were trying to, like, oh, she didn't know she still
She
had
forgot
this
about
last
them.
stash. Yeah.
Yeah, bullshit. I
That's
ain't never
true,
known an
yeah.
addict.
If you're an addict, you know exactly where
think
all
it-
of your
yeah.
stashes are.
I think it was one of those
All of 'em.
situations where she was like, if I ever have to. So she knew.
Very,
I
very controlled drug addict. Yes.
Yeah.
Very good at it.
You see, she had everything in order. She knew she
Mhm.
had everything she needed to sleep in her car if she absolutely needed to. And that was in the trunk. That wasn't the stuff she brung out the house. You see
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's probably what it is the last time she had to take her sleep kit out. Anyway,
Yeah.
so she goes, she pops her about 3 pills off the ground. No water, like a OG. Terrible.
Yeah,
But,
that's awful.
She starts playing with the puzzle, and of course, because she's been popping pills, she assumes that everything she sees is a hallucination. However, her brother comes looking for her, and that don't go well. So anyway, her brother dies. A bunch of people die. Colin, the boyfriend, the roommate, everybody's there. I'm not really sure how to flow through the rest of this because it kind of,
They all have to get to the billionaire's house.
yeah, that's
know.
really where
That was
where
the
it picks
main
back up.
goal for the whole
Yeah.
movie.
Right. So okay, so that's how. So once what was the brother's name? Matt. Once Matt disappears, there becomes like this whole Riley's running around like a chicken with her head cut off. She's not really trying to tell anybody or listen to anybody because she's turned into Batman minus the cocaine. And
Dang,
yeah,
the great detective.
it was funny. Um, I don't. We'll talk about Batman a different day. For those who might not like that comment, trust me, I have a whole backing on that, and
Is there any reason
I will
she
do you
isn't
justice.
dead? Like, why wouldn't? Why? I don't
She
get
had a
it.
choice.
She had a choice, but I only assume that it has to be. It's the first person that makes the first configuration that gets to be the chain of succession. So, like, if she hadn't finished the chain, would somebody be able to take that chain and finish it,
I mean, I
or
would
is it
assume
start
so.
all over again?
No, I would
You know,
assume so because
you know what?
Nora
You're
was
gonna make me
killed
go back and
by.
watch all these movies.
Right.
I mean, but from this, I would assume so because Nora was killed by Roland. She wasn't killed by Riley, nor
Right, and
was
it
she
just
killed
kept
by
it
just one of them.
kept succeed. It kept growing.
As
Right.
long as it kills, it
Yeah.
didn't matter who committed the murder, as long as it gets
Okay.
blood.
All right. I guess that makes sense. It just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that she didn't have to suffer any of those consequences.
Right.
You know.
Like Matt accidentally did it. And in a sense, that's kind of, well, we'll get to that. But that's what she was kind of told at the end is, her choice to live with all of these things.
Wait, but she didn't cut herself, did she? Did she?
Yeah, she did.
She got
Okay,
cut
so
too.
then she should be on the
Should be
chopping
dead.
block. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I
all
think
right.
she passed it on though, because when she got stabbed, she ended up stabbing
Her
one of the
brother grabbed
Cenobite.
it. No, when she got stabbed is when her brother grabbed it. And
Right.
then
And then he
later when
got
she got,
stabbed. And
right,
then
and
it
when she got stabbed
changed.
Oh,
again,
right,
it was
So
right,
that
right,
was
right,
the
right.
first kill.
correct.
Yeah.
And the second one is when she got the Cenobite, which doesn't make no damn sense.
Oh yeah. Oh, that is so stupid. I kept asking myself. I've never even seen Hellraiser, and I'm like, can you do that?
No.
You could just stab the Cenobites
I don't care
instead?
what universe you
I
in. I'm gonna
mean,
run with no.
there's no rule against stabbing a Cenobite
Did you
that
see a
I'm aware
Cenobite
of.
bleed? Oh well, no. You know what, Nick? Maybe because technically they were human.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that. I just think that would be like something that the devil wouldn't allow you to do, is to pull a fast one on the devil.
Right. You're not
You
gonna
know what
take
I
my
mean?
creatures back. Yeah, at that
Right.
point.
Yeah. Like, why would killing my creatures give you another succession?
Hmm.
You
If
know,
anything, it should give you a regression.
they're right. Exactly. Now you owe another life.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we find they discover after she goes back to Trevor and she's complaining to him, which again we find out later that he's a douchebag. It was all a setup. Um, but she goes to meet Serena, and Serena basically is like, "I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna lock it away so nobody else has to deal with it." And I guess because Serena is aware that if it's dormant for a while, it just reverts back to its original formation and starts over.
Oh, okay. Good to
Um,
know.
that's what it seems like, at least.
Right. Or just lock it away so that it can't continue.
Right, so
You
it can't
know.
continue.
Right.
However, again, it's not what happens.
Stabby, because this thing just has knives all over it.
Right, it just pop out whenever. But for my thing, it was also why were they both wrestling with it in the nature in which they were? Like they were wrestling, like they
Twisting
were
it.
twisting it and turning it together.
Yeah.
You know,
Because they needed to solve the puzzle while they were fighting over it for Serena to be able to be stabbed. So.
right? Which, in her opinion, in her words, she said that was her fault. Which I was like,
No,
no, that was
her
Riley's fault. I thought,
Yeah.
because she brung it here and she wrestled with you. But
fault.
okay,
Well, just think of this, guys. Her whole impetus for doing any of this is to get her brother back, and then in the end,
she she does the better thing.
I suppose.
Yay!
Well, can somebody explain to me why Serena was on an oxygen machine? It's 6 years. She's got that sick in 6 years.
Well, they
Well,
they
It's
showed that
possible.
she
It
was
is possible.
smoking a cigarette, so
I
Lung
mean, listen, I
cancer
think she
being
was
what it
taking
is.
it. You saw the way she jumped up and ran when she got that puzzle.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, she's got enough energy, that's for sure. But yeah,
She was spry, light
she
on,
was
light on the
spry.
toes.
Yeah. I mean, that was okay, but that counted as a kill because she died too,
Yes,
right?
she counted as yeah. So that also counted as a kill, but that would technically be a Riley kill. Technically,
Yeah, Riley did kill her because it was
Mhm.
her stabbing, I guess. I don't know. The
Stabby,
rules don't
stabby
make a
with the
whole lot of
Riley
sense.
hands.
Well, I
Right.
mean, with Serena, she didn't intend for that though either.
But according to
Right.
Serena, she did it to herself. So did she sacrifice herself? Because she
No.
worked. My question also with Serena is how long was she working for Vought? Because Vought worships the Leviathan. So if you were working for him for X amount of time, whoa, that just clicked. Vought, Vought Industries,
Voight.
Mr. Vought.
His name
Oh,
is Voight.
Voight,
Right.
you guys been letting me say Vought this whole time.
That's okay.
Oh well, I guess that's because that's what popped in my head. Vought. I was thinking
Yeah.
about Vought. Well, Mr. Vought would have did all of these things that Mr. Voight did for sure. um, she tells them about Voight disappearing and all of those things. But again, my question: she worked for him for how long? Because if you work for someone for X amount of time and you know their beliefs and their morals, and she
Hmm.
knew he was murdering all these people.
Right.
Right.
She
She
had
helped
to.
him. She helped
Hmm.
him get all of these people all the way to the point of him getting to the first Leviathan configuration.
Hmm.
So that means something had to give, and maybe that's why I was thinking is maybe she was sick because of her part in help assisting him. That was her reward. Excuse me.
No, but I mean, when the Cenobites came, they said that like she had to pay for all of the things that she had done.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I guess.
But that could
And
be general sin too. I mean,
well,
depending
and she
on
also lied.
right, general sin
She
Mhm.
didn't have to
could be
even
what she's
touch
paying
the
for.
puzzle. She didn't even have to touch the puzzle, and she wouldn't have been
Or
killed.
not just the puzzle. She lied about her situation with Voight. She said that she had to settle his estate. If that's the case, how is he still alive and in his home?
Right.
If you had settled his estate, the estate would have been sold, all
Hmm.
of it. So
Well,
yeah,
if he
that was
faked his
interesting.
death,
Clearly, he
because
did,
he's
and I think
supposed
she
to.
was a part of it.
Right.
I think that's what her job was. If they come looking for her, you send them to the house. You tell them, "Oh, I'm dead," and you know they'll bring the puzzle, which worked. I mean, that could be it. Um, so immediately she tells Trevor. Trevor is not down, and Riley goes on her own. Um, she finds everything. She finds his torture chamber, his art room, and all of his information on the artifact. I called it the artifact in my notes. Uh, But then she also finds out that the monsters are called Cenobites, and I expected to get a little more out of that when she found out when she said Cenobite. I expected her to like show everybody else, like, "Hey, this is what I'm talking about. This is what they are." Because now, at his manor, at least, which I thought was also interesting, that's the only place everybody else could see them. We didn't see
Right.
anybody else see them other places, but
Oh, that's right.
at his house, everybody could see them.
I think it's because of the cage. They couldn't get into the house, so they just kind of were waiting. They were in a holding pattern outside.
Right.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
in there hiding away from them to come get him until he could get the configuration back. Got it. Okay,
Hmm.
that actually does make sense.
I
Um,
love you. Stab me. I love you.
I love you,
Sorry.
Stephanie.
Sorry.
And but yeah, so we find out that Trevor, Noah, and Colin come. Trevor and Nora, I think I just called her Noah. Trevor and Nora go out, and why did she walk into the wall when the door opened?
you know, because you got
Reason,
to. Yeah, you got to. She
Right,
has to. Yeah.
got it.
reasons.
And that was
Reason.
another kill from the box, right?
Yeah.
But he did
Well,
that
but
one.
that was Voight.
Right. So like so it doesn't really matter. It's just whoever's holding it by the seventh kill is who gets the wish.
Yep. That's exactly the only thing that matters.
But then Chick should have never had the wish then because he had it by
But
the seventh
they
kill.
have to collect, and they didn't get to collect first.
What are they collecting?
The soul,
The
or the
body.
body. Yeah.
But they
I
gave
think
him what he wanted. I
uh,
I don't know.
no, no,
Doesn't
no,
make
no.
any
So
sense.
that actually did make sense to me because he's already been there, and he didn't have to get to the Leviathan for the exchange. He simply had to talk to the Cenobites, which he was running from the Cenobites. And so that's pretty much what she just told him. Like, we don't take our rewards back, but we do exchanges. And then she then decided what he was going to get. It's not like he made the change.
Yeah, but he could only call the Leviathan after the seventh kill.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I guess that
So
is
I would
confusing.
assume that the seventh kill then is reserved to him because he was the one that summoned the Leviathan to come.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're right.
But then she gets a
They both
wish
do.
too for some
They both
reason.
do.
They
And
both
well,
get one.
even though she gets a wish and she doesn't use it.
Well, she chooses lament, right? That's one of
Well,
the
she
wishes you get,
right. I'm like,
which
she
is
doesn't
basically
actually choose
for
lament. She
nothing
gets
to
told that
happen.
that's what she
Yeah.
chose, and it goes back to configuration number one. Um,
I mean, that's a terrible monkey's paw. At least the monkey's paw at the beginning works a little
it
bit.
sounded
You
yeah.
know
It
what I
started
mean?
off well. And I mean, in the middle of that, like, there's a bunch of back and forth about feeding the box, but essentially we find out Trevor was hired by Voight to feed the box so that Voight can get back to the Leviathan configuration. And Trevor's a douchebag, straight up. I did enjoy that Riley found a way to use it to kill him and swap him out for Colin. However, Colin could have still went to.
Yeah, definitely.
They didn't
Definitely
leave
could
us a
have.
reason to like any of the characters. They could have took her too.
Yeah, because it really doesn't make sense. The Cenobites like move very slowly and very deliberately, and then you can just tell them to stop and then be like, "No, don't kill that person. Could you kill this
Mhm.
person over here?" What? What?
Nice
What?
demon.
Yeah, very, very.
Appreciate you, demon guy.
Yeah,
Demon guy.
it's
Demon
actually
guy.
decent customer service, to be
Right? Can you
honest.
just take out all my enemies for me? You can
Yeah,
have all. I sacrifice them to you.
yeah.
You know, do
And I
what you
don't
need to
even want
do.
my reward at the
Yeah,
end.
nah. You could just have all this blood,
Yeah.
kill it all, take all of it. Plasma, the life force. It's the most interesting thing to me about that part. I thought the same thing. Like, so we did all of this murdering for nothing, basically.
Yeah. Pretty much. I mean, that's the right. That's sort
But
of telltale monkey paw thing.
but doesn't that mean we're kind of messed up for trying to understand demon thought?
Maybe. I'll even. I'll
Well,
just
we're
leave that
also
maybe. Yeah.
we're also he's yeah. I think that the billionaire's first choice illustrates how dumb we are when we think of things in
Out
the
there. Yeah.
context of humans, because he wanted pleasure or sensation, and they're like, well,
Here's some
we'll
Yo,
help
feeling
you
for you.
out.
You want to feel something? Here's some feeling.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't
And
want to feel that much.
with you saying that, we actually end the movie with seeing Roland being turned into a Cenobite.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get the Leviathan configuration, you gain power, and when you gain that power, you become a Cenobite, and your job is to torture, maim, and kill for the Leviathan.
See, this is how they should reboot. Have a movie for every configuration.
That would be dope,
That
or at least a
that
background
would be.
origin for all of them.
Yeah, the origin, and have the first like original person to use that configuration or to choose it. And then, like you can tailor the story around each configuration. That would be
True.
amazing.
Man, that's good for at least what, 7 movies?
7 movies. That would be great.
7 movies, 12 seasons, maybe.
Yeah, you could do it. I mean, I
In a
wouldn't make it a
TV show.
TV show. Nah. I don't
No,
know.
it's
Too many
you.
TV
Well,
shows now.
yeah,
Too many TV shows.
I mean,
on
hey, 7
on
movies. If we
Disney
make them
Plus
3
though.
hours, we know. Oh God,
Yeah.
This would be great on Disney Plus.
Oh
we
yes,
sell
I'm
well
sure
on
they would
Disney
love it.
Plus.
But yeah, that's what we need to do, is have a movie for each configuration.
Mhm.
How they got there, who the first person was
Each
to
Cenobite.
choose that. Yeah, each
Yeah,
Cenobite.
that would be pretty. That would be
That would be
dope.
dope to have
Mhm.
one for the configurations too. Though I get what you're saying, because then we get to find out who are the first people to
Like, what is
experience
love?
them.
There's a
True.
love one.
There's a love.
How
There's
fucked
life.
up would that be?
Right.
Like,
The pain of the heart.
Like I
Yeah.
thought Resurrection was going. I knew Resurrection was going to be crazy.
I knew it was going to be bad. I mean, it's kind of a bummer that they didn't get to show us the other
Yeah, not even a
configurations.
little.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the Hellraiser movie. Anything you guys thought of that we haven't really talked about? We really went through the entire movie step by step, pretty much.
Mm.
But
I
any
actually
things that
enjoyed it
jumped out
though.
for you guys? Excuse me.
I really did enjoy it though.
I mean, I really did not
Oh, another
get
accident.
disappointed. I really did not get disappointed. I 1,000% thought this was going to be a little slower, even, and it wasn't. I thought it was going to be really CG heavy and editing heavy, and it wasn't. So it was pleasant. It was pleasant, but as far as story and continuity, there's just a few things missing in there, and of course that affects my feelings as far as a score, but that doesn't affect my feelings as far as quality. Like there is quality to this movie here, so I could say
I would
that.
agree with that.
Yeah. Um, and it's been a long time since I've seen the insides of a voice or esophagus being pierced by a needle, if ever. Um,
That
seeing
sounds
somebody
awful.
right, seeing somebody catch six of the same stick pins into their voice box, have their mouth peeled back into a mask, and seeing multiple people flayed. Yeah, haven't seen any of those things in quite some time. So all of that was ultra enjoyable, and yeah, the ending was a little dry. It felt a little short at the end, but it is what it is. They did well to get to that point, and they actually had an ending, and I can tell that it was the original ending that they wrote for it. Aha, aha. Uh, but yeah, I guess with that, I just long-winded my final thoughts. So I guess I can give my first review of the Hellraiser. I'm sorry, not review. That was my review. I give my rate of the Hellraiser. Still have to do it twice. I'm gonna give this. Wait, what did we just watch? I gave that a 6. Damn it.
What
See,
happened?
see, we always got to change. We always got to change. Well, I have this thing where I think like, what did I rate the last thing? Like, because if this you're too close. If you watch that and you watch this and they ain't even in the same ballpark as far as interesting, and they have the same rating, I gotta look at myself kind of crazy. Like, what are you doing over here, buddy? Just say it was a 3. If it was a 3, say it was a 3. Um, this is a 5.5, maybe a 6, but it's about a 5.5. A
Okay.
lot of things to take away from it. Uh, but if you want to be entertained, see a little bit of cringeworthy stuff at the same time, you can still eat your dinner while you're watching it. So uh, I can give this a 5.5. If I were a little more grossed out by some of those things, some of those elements, I could probably give it a 7, honestly. But I wasn't really blown away. It's just been a while since I've seen that level of detail behind the blood and the gore in a movie. But I enjoyed it. I would watch. This actually makes me the same thing Nick was saying. Even like Mike is saying, go back. This movie makes me want to go back and watch the originals or the older versions.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
been
nothing
so
in the two
long.
thousands. Maybe nothing in the 2000s, but for sure before 2000. So yeah. Um, who wants to go next? Nick, Mike.
Yeah, I think this is probably a 5 for me as well. I think it was decent. It's not terrible. I think that you probably enjoy it. Um, I think it falls flat for me in the story and character sort of avenue. Also, the score isn't anything to write home about. But yeah, the characters really just don't. There's just nothing there. There's no charisma. There's no, and I don't need them to have like full backstories and be super, in depth. But like, a charismatic character, somebody that you're rooting for, is probably a good call, especially in a horror movie. And I just didn't feel like Riley was the person I wanted to root for. And it seems like the movie only allowed her to live just because somebody needed to be alive at the end, um, which I don't even think that that's true. Could have killed everybody off, and that would have been fine with me. So yeah, I think this is about a 5. I really enjoyed the lore aspects of stuff. I liked, learning about the Cenobites. I liked learning about the configurations. I thought that was really cool. But it made me wish that those were the things that I was watching instead of what I was. So yeah, 5 for me.
Fair enough.
Sounds good. What
Um,
about you, Mike?
for me, I gave it about a 6 because I enjoyed it, and it's an old series that I was kind of coming back to because like I said, I've seen the old movies, but I don't remember much of it. A lot of the content, just for me, it's always been kind of forgettable because Hellraiser wasn't the main focus, but I've always enjoyed the series for what they are. Um, The characters have always, the Cenobites are always, look amazing as far as their costumes and the makeup. That's always been on point. There's always something to look to there because they change it every movie. They don't always have all the same Cenobites, except Pinhead. That's the real main constant. Because they do have a female. They do have that female character Cenobite. She kind of is a recurring character too, but not this Pinhead one. They have a one that does kind of look like her in the Pinhead series, but they've kind of had other ones too. They had a fat guy with glasses on. They had a guy with buzz saws in his head. They've had a wide variety of things. So it's gotten pretty creative over the years. So I can always appreciate that part. I really did just enjoy the fact that this had more of a story. I mean, the characters, yeah, you don't really care too much about them. They don't grow on you or anything, but they were developed more than I've seen in a lot of the previous movies, to be fair. So, with movies like this, and there's a few others, because like when you think of some of the classic horror movies that are out there, a lot with multiple sequels like these, most of them are pretty gnarly, and you appreciate them for what they used to be. And I think this movie's going to make me want to go back and probably watch some of the previous ones just to kind of be up on the lore again, because it's been so long. But I rated about a 6. I actually enjoyed it. I really did.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, very nice. That gives us 16.5 out of 30, which is about what probably like a 5.7.
5.5.
5.5. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, right middle of the road. We don't hate it. We don't love it, but we don't hate it, which means
Right.
we like it. With that being said, that is the wrap for the Hellraiser 2022 review. If you know what the Hellraiser is about for all of the time of the Hellraiser, let us know in the comments how you feel about it. Maybe we'll go and watch some of the old ones and come back and be like, all right, listen, so we watched that new one. Them old ones, go back to those. But we don't know yet. Let's see how we feel in the future. We're here. It's Sunday. So I have to give you guys the rundown on how you should plan your week out. This way you have good content and material to just get you through, right? So here on Sunday, you already know, Screen Time Continuum. We'll be here for you 8:30 p.m., giving you all kinds of good movies, maybe a TV show in the future, depending on what's coming out and what's already going on. Mondays, you get a break. Tuesdays, head on over to If Numbers Could Talk. If Numbers Could Talk comes on around 8 p.m. on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, you're right back here on the Screen Time Continuum at 8:30 p.m. Thursdays and Tuesdays as well, you're over on Twitch watching Dijon, Strawberries and Coffee. Fridays, the Exofathom at 8 p.m. This Merry Moment on Saturday mornings. And then you're right back here, Screen Time Continuum, on Sunday. Look at that. We got you guys covered. I mean, but you get an off day. It's almost like a job, but we appreciate it. Hit that subscribe. Drop some comments. 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 For the Screen Time Continuum, I am Keelan.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Mike.
We appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
Come back and enjoy with us.